So hello, welcome to a new video, which will be like always a messy one. In this case especially because as before I'm kind of fiddling with a new project where I want to make a director's monitor using iPads. I have several products that I'm reviewing and fiddling with that I want to provide feedback to a company to. I'm also trying to figure out together with Smallrig if we can make a sort of a nice solution for this, which is better than the one I'm showing you today, or different would be a better word. But I ordered some products and this is one of them, and I figured it was good to show you because I think it's already a kind of an interesting solution. Now the weird part here is a little bit that I have to use the iPad, which I normally use to generate these lower thirds graphics, and things already start dropping away. So I will first do my normal intro and then take out that iPad and show you what it's doing. So yeah, if you're not new to the channel, please subscribe. I put videos here. Most of them are small tips or bigger tips or just me fiddling around with video or photography stuff. And I post most of it on our Facebook group, which is called Sony Full Frame Setup Tips. Some products are directly related, some products are a little bit less related, or it's just stuff that I'm working on. So today we are going to look at something called the iOgrapher filmmaker case. And the idea of this case is actually, so its original intent is that you can make videos with it. You hold it like this, and I will show you later on because I'm now using it, to be able to film better. And it's actually not a weird product. It works quite well, surprisingly well. But I felt it also for the price that it was the solution that you can use if you're using an iPad as a monitor to get wireless video. And there are several products. You see one over here, and I'm soon testing another another product, which allows you to use basically any iPhone or Android devices as a field monitor. But you want to have something to grab onto, right? At least that's what I think. And that's why we were playing with this product. But the original one was for filming, and it actually comes with some interesting options. So let's take away the box and then take the iPad out of its normal role so that we can show you what we are talking about. So I took it out of the setup now. And you can see, actually it's kind of nice to see how I would normally do this. Normally this would be in full screen, and this provides actually the layer that is normally used to create these lower thirds that you see sort of moving in and out. So that's actually kind of a nice solution, and I put it into the mixing table and then you're done. Of course, that's not how we want to use it now. So let's first show you how they kind of intended you to use it. So the idea is that you can use this, and let me start up Filmic Pro in this case. Let me first see why it provides me with so much light that I do not want. I don't use Filmic Pro that much, so sorry for that. I should be able to... Well, you have to live with it, that it gives too much light. It's also my iPad is quite bright. But you can see on this one it's even more difficult, so let me turn this one down a bit. So that's better. So you can see that you can use it as a basically a handheld device that you can sort of hold in front of you to film. And it's actually quite a sort of an interesting solution. It works quite well. They on top in fact put 3 cold shoe mounts so that you can attach a monitor, a microphone or something else. And what is also nice is that they actually include, I'm not sure if this is normally part of the package, but they include this lens clamp. But at least in the box that I had, which looked a little bit knocked up, also it came with a lens already. And this is actually a lens that turns your iPad or iPhone camera into a wider one, which is kind of interesting. The idea is that you can clip it on there like this, and then it you have to of course make sure that it covers the hole correctly. But now if I go into this camera app again, you can see that we have a much wider view. I can take it off so that you can see it. But you can see this is kind of an interesting working sort of solution. There's tripod holes over here and on the sides. I already reused the ones on the side for something which I will show you when we are using it as a monitor, because that's why I got it. But you can see that this is actually kind of an interesting sort of tool. And you can hold it and it becomes quite stable, I must admit. So you can clip it in. There's a little clip here and it's quite well attached to my surprise. Yeah, I think it's an interesting product. I paid about $60 for, or 60 euros for it. Not sure how many are still around or if it's still an active product, because I think they are designing a new one. But you can see, I can show it from different sides. It's a big plastic sort of thing. Feels quite sturdy, not overly sturdy like metal. And you can see they left quite a few holes here. I think that's to keep the weight down, but also so that you can still turn it on and turn it off. So yeah, if you're interested in that application, something to look at, it's you can set it down. I think it's very well protected for drops, even on if you drop it like this. Of course, if you're unlucky, you're unlucky. But I can totally see it working for its original sort of intent. But that is not why I got it. So let's go to that use case. So you already see on the table that I've put a wireless transmitter there. And the whole idea for me was, can I use this as a wireless receiver? So let me start up that application. So first then I have to turn on this one. And this one is a CineEye, quite a simple sort of transmitter. And I now hooked it up to our mixing table. So basically, if I started the application, we should see the different camera views coming in, depending on which mode I put it. So let me start this application over here. Makes it a bit easier, because you have to join the Wi-Fi, which is how most of these products work. So I have to do that first. So it's the second time I'm recording this, because somebody, of course, came in and brought a package. So after a few seconds it should pop up. You can see that indeed it pops up. So I join it, and once it's joined I can start the application, which is going with this transmitter. And again, I'm going to also use some different ones which have similar features, but also at some point different features. So you can see, if I show you, that indeed it is showing the signal that we are doing now, which is kind of cool. You can see that what I did now, I put it actually in review mode, or sorry, the output of my mixing table is now basically fed into this little box. So this little box, and that in turn is this is the preview that I can sort of tune. So if I go into my settings, for example, you can see it now pop up on this one, and I can actually navigate and turn it into different modes. So one interesting one would be, and like always, not well prepared. So hopefully I don't do anything stupid. But you can see that the preview out is now on the output, but I can switch it on. Well, I can actually film it, no, because you don't see it then. But I can turn it into preview mode, which is kind of the same. I could theoretically go to another in the preview, as you can see, that works. But I can also put it in multi-view, which I think in this case is an interesting one. So I've now put it in multi-view, and you can indeed see that I can decide to oh, this one is not a smart one to pick, because you can see that this one is actually doing green keying. So let me turn it off. So you can now see that indeed I can pull signal, and you can see it switch between the different cameras, which is kind of cool. Now this is probably not a signal that you want to send to a director or somebody who's doing focus pulling for you or whatever. But you can see that it works, and you can also see from the top view that it's actually kind of a nice solution for this kind of a problem. I think one problem which I don't like is too big I guess if you have a big setup with you, it's fine and it will definitely work. And one thing I found really handy, of course, in this preview mode, which is nice, you see also all the audio levels. So you can see the audio levels coming in on the mixing table, what I've set a program, what I have a preview. So if I switch it, you can sort of switch it over. But you can also see that you have all kinds of tools built into this tool itself. So you can have things like focus peaking turned on and off, false colors, a waveform, right? So you can see that this application is already quite powerful because we are now using an iPad. And one of the reasons why I want to play with this is that I think having mobile devices, so iPads, Android tablets, and even big phones, is a much nicer way to go for monitors, is because of the extra features that you get, because they're basically very powerful computers. So one thing I already added to the site, which you know that I love these peak design plugs. You can see that I've put one over here and one on the other side over here. And actually what I did, I don't have the strap now, but I just put a strap on here so that I can carry it basically on my tummy, which is kind of nice. So you can sort of walk around with it while you are not using it. You just put it flat on your tummy in a way. And if you want to look at it, it actually stays quite nicely in position. And you have your hands free and you can still see the feed, which I think is kind of interesting. So let me put it back into, let's put it in output mode, or I can even put it in preview mode so that we can see two different ones. So on this one, this is the output, and on this one, I should be able just to switch the signal. So you can see that you can, I now of course have the preview is doing the top camera, and the output is this camera. But you can see it works quite well. Most of these apps you can all take these layers off and record the signal. So you can actually already record it, and yeah, it will do all kinds of funky stuff. Which is we will get back to next week. But for now, the whole idea was, and sorry that this view is a little bit dark, because I have to sort of compromise. It might be a bit better. So you can see that I'm trying to figure out, will these handles on the side work? But if you are looking for something that's a totally off-the-shelf product that you can buy now, this might actually be an interesting product for you to consider, because you can see you can sort of dump it down like this, and then take this and put it on the table if you want to see. Like I said, put a strap on it, and you can sort of hover it on your body, which works fine. You can still attach a few extra tools here. So as use for this Filtem or this director monitor, I think this is actually already kind of an interesting solution. And of course, because you're using an iPad, it's also quite a how would I say, high quality solution, because it's very difficult to get the screen output and the quality of the output on a normal monitor compared to an iPad. And the tools behind it, so the things that you can still do, are most of the time way more powerful than you can do with an external monitor. And of course, it has a built-in battery. So even this whole setup is quite light for the size. And we have a built-in battery which on an iPad lasts about 7 or 8 hours, depending on what you're doing. So quite a good solution. Of course, the downside would be with this transmitter. And depends a little bit on which transmitter you're using. The range, if you go from a real transmitter to a receiver and then to some monitor, I would argue that if for long distances is better than sending it from a wireless transmitter and then having the iPad to be the receiver, because it's just yeah, the connection is not as I would say stable, but not as stable over long distances. So but most of the time you don't need it, so this might actually be a very good sort of solution. So yeah, thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. And let's see if, based on the ideas that I see here, if we can sort of come up with a better solution using small rig parts. Maybe that's the last thing I will show. So the idea in my mind is, let me take it out, which is actually more difficult than you would think. So it would not be smart if I drop it on camera. But there is a clip and you need to take it out, and you would imagine that would be quite easy. I didn't see a manual, so maybe there is a manual and I'm doing it wrong. But you have to, it's quite difficult to get to your iPad. Oh, difficult. It's quite sturdy, let me put it like that. So let me put it there. So the idea that I'm having is, can we make something based on small rig parts that are already available? So something like this, like a small handle, but then with a hole, and then with some side bar that we attach on the back side of this, and then make something similar, which, as you can already see, is smaller. That's one thing why I'm considering getting involved and seeing if you can make something. But you can also take it apart, because you could of course take one long rod like I'm using here, but you can also take two smaller ones. And I think that might be a very interesting sort of compromise where you can still put it in your bag. And of course, these parts are reusable because you can use them for all kinds of applications. I will then get, of course, the one which have the rod connections so that you can slide these on. And yeah, so this was why I was getting this product. So thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.